What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the Commentary Position channel, YouTube channel. And today we're going to be doing a WrestleMania 41 prediction as far as the whole card being finalized and just saying who we think will win their night 1 and night 2 matches. As always, this is I'm PTP, Percy, whichever you prefer, and we got G. Uh, any thoughts on sneak peeks on the predictions before we start?
No. Nope.
All right. Yeah. Before we get
Nope.
into this, once again, like the video. Very much so helps us. Subscribe to the channel. Helps us grow. And if you want, leave a comment if you have predictions of your own that you want to give out. Whether it be the main event, it could be even Jade Cargill versus Naomi. If you want to give your opinion on who you think will win, leave them down below. We want to read them.
Sure. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. Get it cracking with night 1. Page I'm looking at it it's like from the main event down, so I'm gonna just start from the bottom.
Sure.
Jade Cargill versus Naomi.
I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna go on record. Jade wins, gets her ass beat afterwards because Metaphor joins Naomi as a group. Naomi gets her heat back, and they beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, I think.
I really want Naomi to win, but the way they see Jade, I just don't see Jade's last match. She got pinned clean, quote unquote, and then loose here. Unless they're gonna fire her ass, which I don't necessarily see. I think Jade's gonna get back, and then Metaphor joins Naomi, and they beat her ass after the match. She gets her heat back, and Naomi rolls on as her heel run, and they possibly continue the feud.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about it losing clean like the first one, but yeah, I'll probably say Jade. More or less, I feel like as far as this whole story as far as this whole feud is concerned, it was definitely just a reintroduction of Jade back into the singles division, and they needed somebody to be bad, so you got Naomi. I didn't see it like this at first until the story kept progressing, and Jade was staying there beating her ass every week. All respect to Naomi. This is definitely a Jade back into the singles division type of thing. So yep. Two Jades on that one. So also a decent start.
Oh yeah, I think to a caveat, Jade's gonna win with what do you call it? What would you call it? An avalanche, Jaded?
Oh, you think Naomi's gonna eat more than one?
No, I mean like from the top rope.
No, I mean like because usually the avalanche would come like if they kick out the first one, I think.
Well, no, but I remember at times like when, for example, when Cena would hit an AA off the ropes, they'd call it an avalanche AA. That's what I mean. Like she's gonna jaded her off the ropes, not just straight up in the middle of the ring. Like they're gonna be up on the ropes, and Jade's gonna jaded her from up top.
Yeah, I get that. It's just like the avalanche would come like say John Cena hit one regularly, and then that didn't end it. Then he'd go up.
Yeah, an avalanche jaded. Yeah, that's just been referred to that way. So yeah, it's not going to be just like a jaded in the middle of the ring. It'll be off the ropes. So at least it helps Naomi look a little better. It was a monster move. Took her. She just got jaded in the middle of the ring, and that was it. That was the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. I think there's really only one answer for this, to be honest. I mean, El Grande definitely. Probably, I would assume either there's two things. The one that I think will happen is probably Rey Mysterio wins and they unmask El Grande in the ring, and it's just like they finally reveal that it's Chad. But that's probably what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Rey.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't think the mask thing runs too long. So
although, I mean, it would be a nifty little swerve, like if Ray beats him and unmasks him, and it's not. Like Gable had a plant do it for him. He had a ringer wrestle for him, so people don't know it's him, even though it's obviously him. That could be a fun little twist, but yeah.
More or less, I think. Now they could have El Grande win and like he just unmasked himself afterwards, and it's like I've conquered. What did he call him?
The dark arts of lucha.
Well, yeah. Like Ray called himself the gloat, like the greatest luchador of all time, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, I've conquered the gloat, and then he unmasked himself, and it's like he like panics, and it's like, oh dang, like I just realized I unmasked myself in front of 60,000 people. Yeah, could be that too, but yeah, two Rays on that one. See, United States Championship. LA Knight versus the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu.
Jacob.
Yeah. The only other way I could see
'Cause
this
he-
going somewhere different is if, like, Solo comes out and, like, fucks it up.
But even then, even if, Solo comes out and, like, like Jacob's holding LA Knight and Solo goes for a spike and Knight moves and he spikes Jacob. That ain't enough. The way Jacob's been betrayed, something like that and like a BFT is not going to put Jacob down. Like, I can't buy that. It would not do well for Jacob if that's the way it goes.
Yeah. I feel like if Knight was to win, it'd probably just take, like, at least, if they're doing storyline terms, it'd probably have to take at least 5 BFTs. Which sounds OD, but I mean, that's probably how much it would take.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, I think, at least at this current iteration. Now, it all depends too, because Jacob's been standing tall the last couple weeks. If LA Knight doesn't stand tall on Friday, this might be wrong. But at least I think so far, I think it's been 5-2 most weeks. But
Yeah.
World Tag Team Championships, War Raiders, Eric and Ivar versus the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. I'm thinking the War Raiders. I want to say the War Raiders retain, but at the same time, the New Day would probably bring more relevance, as messed up as that sounds, to the titles, because a lot of people forgot that the War Raiders had them.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want them to know that Raw has tag titles again, they're probably going to give the best bet is to give them to Kofi and Woods.
Okay. New Day wins. They go for the beating again to try to, like, take them out, and maybe they accomplish it on one of them, like, to, like, temporarily take them out. Big E returns, kicks our asses. Yeah.
Wait, is he in? I don't know. I was like, was he in Vegas? Because I don't know if he, like.
Yes.
I don't know if I followed him on, like, social media or anything like that. Oh, because he's doing the panel and stuff, right?
Because normally he does the panel stuff, so he's going to be there for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Big E returns
beforehand.
Big E returns and does something to them. Yeah, I'm calling it.
Yeah, that would be a really good pop, though, especially in Vegas.
Big one. Yep.
Really good pop. WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair.
Tiffany.
Yeah, I know you didn't really care as much about this as much as before. But yeah, I mean,
I don't.
I feel like Tiffany's the only answer. I might be overgassing it, but I just feel like Tiffany's the only answer. I feel like if Charlotte wins, good lord, they're gonna get creamed on Twitter.
They're gonna get crucified. Yeah, WWE's gonna get, like, crucified for that. Like, Tiffany wins.
Yeah.
For now.
Or at least that's what I've seen as far as I've seen something where they said, like, backstage, like, I guess, like, Charlotte tried to do what Cena and Orton used to do as far as going off script to kind of get more out of people. But the only difference was that she didn't pivot the same way that they would, which made it look 10 times worse. Yeah.
Tiffany wins for now. It might be a little bit more of a hard-hitting match just because there's a little bit of heat. So
potentially, yeah.
It might be a little more entertaining in that aspect. I don't think it's going to be a bad match. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying it's going to be bad, but it might be a little more stiff. Pause. Than you would expect out of it. But yeah, Tiffany wins for now.
I mean, realistically, if I had to really guess, because obviously, like, it sucks. Like, I feel like he would have to be moved if they were to do this. I feel like at some point they were going to move Charlotte to Raw because realistically, I don't think there's really any other way to make this kind of, like, not pass, but, like, kind of, like, patch this up, and then, like, you move Ludwig obviously just because, like, in case there's, like, real heat, you lessen the chances of that too.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I can think of from that. Like, Charlotte is not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but this story was definitely not beneficial to either of them. So
yeah, Tiffany wins for now. So there you go.
Wait, so you think Charlotte beats her somewhere?
Yes. As soon as Backlash. Yes.
Then that would mean Tiffany's reign has only been, like,
I know
5 months.
I know.
But I don't know about that.
I know. I kind of have a feeling.
What's up to that? Well,
Charlotte's tying her father, so it's inevitable. So it's just, I just don't think, if Charlotte does the deed at WrestleMania, it's not going to be long before she's like, all right, I'm winning, and they appease her and give it to her. I'm not saying it will be Backlash, but it'll be as early as Backlash. It's not going to be like 4 or 5. Like I'm not saying, like, they're going to keep this up till like SummerSlam because I don't want to see another 4 months of this crap. No offense. I don't want to see another 4 months of this. So it's not going to be like SummerSlam. It's going to be before that. That's why I said maybe as soon as Backlash, maybe what? Money in the Bank, Saturday Night's Main Event. If there's one of those in the May, June type of time, yeah, it's going to happen. I just unfortunately believe that. So, but Tiffany gets the.
If that's the case, it'll probably be on Raw. I feel like Raw is the only one where it's like it would make more sense depending on who wins.
But Tiffany gets the Mania win. She needs it, and they'll do the right thing because to make her the star, she needs it. It does nothing to Charlotte, especially if quote unquote the long term booking for that title for the next 6 months or so is Charlotte's going to win it. Tiffany needs it to win now because Tiffany needs to be made. And as far as SmackDown goes, that's Charlotte. Charlotte loses, it makes Tiffany. So yeah.
World Heavyweight Championship: Gunther versus Jey Uso.
Okay, so Jay's going to win for sure. Jay's winning. It's going to be more hard hitting. It could get bloody on both on both of them. Jay's going to get the choke put on him multiple times, and he's going to get out. He's going to get out of it. I'm not like going to call the whole match, but towards the end, Jay's going to be in the choke. He's going to be bloody. He's going to be feeling like he's fading. Jimmy's going to come out, spur him on, boost him up, give him that second burst he needs. Jay gets out of it, does his stuff, even if it's like 5 super kicks and Usos and you know what I mean, and the splash. Then he does it. He wins. There you go, new champ. Place goes bonkers. Basically, Jay's going to get out of the choke, and then Jimmy's going to help, quote unquote, help just by showing up and giving him that last burst he needs to get out and get it done. And Jay will celebrate with Jimmy. There you go.
I probably want to play devil's advocate. It's just like I don't want to see like the chances of like if all it is kind of like a thing where Gunther just ends up beating the shit out of him and like the reign just continues.
I mean, it's entirely possible.
Yeah, because as far as like,
it's entirely possible that they have their match and Gunther they could pull some crazy stuff and Gunther could like decisively beat him way quicker than you think.
Because if you really think about it, like Gunther lost last year. If Gunther loses 2 Manias in a row, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. To lose 2 Manias
it is.
In a row. Like you lost your IC title at Mania, and now you lose the World Heavyweight Championship at Mania, and he held that title for like a year.
That could play into a storyline and a like this tonight's like possibly temporary mindset change could be a more permanent mindset change where he's more brutal to get it back. But in the meantime, we don't know, like, is that feud going to continue or like, all the whispers of like, well, Goldberg wants a retirement match. And, word on the internet wrestling community streets is that it's probably going to be Gunther. So that means Gunther's going to be kind of out of the title picture for at least a month or 2 or whatever. So, and it would be dumb wouldn't make any sense if that's where they're kind of probably, whatever, more probable than possible to go, where it's like, if that's what they're going to do, Gunther, the title doesn't need to be a thing, or it's like, it's a title match. Like, it doesn't need to be that, especially if, like, for some odd reason, Goldberg wants one more match and it's Gunther and like they appease him and like he wants to go out as a winner, not a loser, to put anybody over, then what? He wins the world title and disappears? And I can't do that.
I mean, it's also a thing too, of like if I feel like if Gunther did have the belt and he had a match with Goldberg, if anything, I feel like it'll be more. Plus, there's more poetic for like Gunther just beat him on the way out.
Plus, there's the draft. Gunther could be moved.
Yeah, there's a lot that could change.
We'll get to that we'll get to that once they announce it. But Gunther could be moved. So he'll have a whole slew of people and another title possibly to go after. So it may not matter.
Yeah, but if it was the old regime, I could see Goldberg winning, but I don't think Triple H is gonna let that mess happen. I hope not. I don't think he let a mess like that happen where it's like we have to see Gunther for the next potentially 4 to 5 years.
Not unless, like I said, if Goldberg wants to do like one last brief run, or maybe he has like 2 matches, not one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe they can appease him in the sense of like what they did with him and Brock, where like he shockingly beats Gunther quick, like he did Brock, and then they have the rematch and it doesn't work, and Gunther puts him down. They could do something similar to what they did with Brock, and it wouldn't really hurt Gunther. It would be shocking as shit, but
I feel like it was only shocking for Brock because Brock was like Brock never had matches that were longer than like 10 minutes.
No, but still, it was still a shock that Goldberg beat him in like 70 seconds. It still shocked the shit out of everybody that he dropped him that quick. Well, would it not be a massive shock if if they do something similar where like he double spears Gunther, jackhammers him, and beats him in like 2 minutes or less? Would that not be like, what the fuck did I just see?
It probably would have been if he hadn't already lost to Sammy, and the potential of him losing to Jey Uso is really, really high. It's almost like Brock was fighting big dogs and losing, or we fought big dogs and lost. It was like it just had more intrigue to it, to where either he ended them or they ended him like after like multiple scenarios.
That's the problem. Is if that's the idea, we're going on the assumption that Goldberg is gonna have like a brief retirement thing, and Gunther is what everybody is hearing. The title can't be involved in it, so it's kind of painted into a corner, because if Gunther wins, then the title is involved in it, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense and is kind of a waste. But if Gunther wins, where does Jey go from here? If Jey wins, Gunther could end up on SmackDown and go right back to like doing his thing and getting to the point where he could be like the WWE undisputed WWE champion, and go forget that happened and then go after the quote unquote bigger belt, and then Jey holds the world title till, I don't know, SummerSlam, and you make somebody like Braun.
But the thing with that is like, I feel like in a weird way, if they were to move Jey to SmackDown, I feel like the story would have a bigger like feel if he was on SmackDown, because I feel like there's like at least more, like whether it be like him and Cody or like him and hell, even him and Cena, because technically you can still have some sort of like a little mini story, because I mean he did eliminate him at the Rumble, so it's like if they were to have something like that on SmackDown, they could make an even bigger moment out of it, and then kind of like, even if Gunther like fights Goldberg and it's not even like belt related, I feel like realistically, if Goldberg wants to go out with one more match, he doesn't need to win, and he shouldn't win.
No,
because I mean
he doesn't.
It doesn't really matter.
He doesn't need to win and shouldn't win, and perhaps he does the right thing, and then it's fine. Jey can win, Gunther can wrestle Goldberg briefly, win, and then everything's hunky dory, and then he could move to SmackDown. Jey could hold the world title to like SummerSlam, and then you make your new guy. You make your new guy, and he drops it to Braun. I mean, I don't know how things shake up with the draft, but like in a bubble.
I feel like with SmackDown, if they're gonna move one of them two, if they were to move one of the two, it had to be Jey. I feel like Gunther gets lost on SmackDown.
It depends. It depends. Depends on what they're planning to do.
Yeah, like if Cena wins and they put Gunther on SmackDown, he's not fighting for anything. He'll just be there.
Well, yeah. Well, the problem is if Cody's going to take time off, who is fighting for it?
I mean, like you have like Randy, and like you got like people that could like be in the running for it. But at this point, it's like no one's really buying a face Gunther going up against Hollywood Cena.
I mean, it depends on the. It honestly, it depends on the draft, and it depends on the aftermath of WrestleMania, because for all we know, Cody's going to take time off. Orton's going to turn on him if it's not at WrestleMania, although I kind of predicted that anyway. And then you have Cody and Randy might get a shot at Cena at Backlash, and then he feuds with Cody for a while. What do you got? You're not going to have Cena and Roman.
Yeah. Listen, at that point, like, you could have, like hypothetically, if Jay was to lose, you don't get that moment at Mania, but SmackDown.
I mean, I see where you're.
SmackDown's one of the only places where I feel like
I see where you're.
Those two. Yeah.
I see where you're going with it, but I don't think that's ever going to happen at this point. I don't think Jay's moment is like, okay, he's going to be heavyweight champion, but not like the WWE champion. I see where there could be a story built, but I don't see it happening like that.
I mean, like in story, at least in story wise, the way they've been hyping him up, if they're hyping him up as this quote unquote like right hand Jay, crash out Jay was one of them ones. If he can't be seen as WWE champion, I can't believe him as world champion either. Hypothetically speaking, because it's like if he can win one belt and it's like, oh well, this is like the secondary belt, then what does that make Gunther? Is Gunther a secondary champion?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm looking at like internal.
Not you. I'm saying like for like fan wise, like some people will be like, oh, it's a secondary belt, but people say Gunther is like one of the more dominant champions. Gunther ain't holding no second ranked belt, so at that point, it's like if Jay wins that, it still holds the same.
No, but
same connotation if it was a WWE championship.
But realistically, and we don't know how Cena is going to come out of WrestleMania, because Cena could come out of WrestleMania being cheered way more than he's booed, depending on how the match goes.
The last time he was booed, it was warranted because it was the Theory match from the Mania Hollywood, because that match was bad. I think that was Mania Hollywood, if I can remember. But if the match is good, depending on that, I don't know. I just feel like at that point, as crazy as it sounds, there's only so many like options they can have with it. If anything, to be honest, I kind of just don't think I kind of wish the Goldberg thing wasn't even an option, because I don't want to see that man on my screen in any capacity after what he did to Undertaker. I don't want to see that again in any capacity. Oh,
well, I mean, but it's happening. It's just a question of how. It's happening. It's just how it happens. With who? And Goldberg's not going to have just like a retirement match against just somebody, some random ass person. Then that doesn't make any sense for someone of his caliber to have one match end his career to wrestle a mid-carder. What's the point?
But it's like at that point, it's like, why? At least realistically, like at least if it's a mid-carder, I know he can just win and I can just move on with my life. But if it's like he has a match with a guy of note that I have to watch for the next like 5 to 6 years, and he squashes them, how do you rebuild that?
Well, I'm not saying that he's going to.
I know that. I'm saying it's like hypothetically, like if they're booking it like how a Goldberg match normally would have been booked, or like how he did to Brock, where it's like I feel like the only reason it was like shocking more or less because like what Brock was doing to dudes on top of the fact. But it's like if Goldberg has a retirement match and they book it like a Goldberg match, like a WCW Goldberg match, how do you recover the guy that loses?
Yeah, but even WWE or WCW Goldberg, there's still the mystique of Goldberg, and you have to put him in. If he's going to have one match, you have to put him in the ring with somebody who theoretically could take what Goldberg could dish out and give it back and not lose quickly and be squashed.
Yeah, but at that point, it's like at every level Goldberg's been at, his longer matches have been ass. anything over the minimum of like what 5 minutes, he's either gassed or it's just not.
And I know he's 50s, like late 50s. I get it, but he's going to get one, and it's not going to be against somebody half his size. He's just not. They're going to at least, even if he agrees to have one match and lose, he's not going to do it against just somebody. It's going to be somebody of caliber. They're just going to give him that. It'll be somebody of caliber. It's not going to just be anybody. I don't really think even Goldberg's going to be like, yeah, I want one more match, retire, call it a career, whatever it is. And then they give him somebody in the mid card who really can't really get the best of him in theory, just based on who Goldberg is. And then they have the match. Goldberg beats their ass and then walks away. Like, I don't even think he would be okay with that. Like, because it wouldn't be like, there wouldn't be much to it other than he just does it. And I think he wants it to be a bigger deal than that.
But even then, they already done it before. They fed Ziggler to him in was it like 2020?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's like
Well, it was in
that's like
front
I
of a
said.
crowd. It was just
We're not 2021,
look. It's a
2022. I forgot what it
it
was.
was
Yeah.
look. It was a goddamn mess. I get it, but Goldberg's gonna have a match or two against somebody, and I don't know where it's gonna go. You know, like I said, we're gonna do the draft predictions. I think the main event scene on both shows is going to be shaken up by the draft. So I just think more than likely that I think this is how it's going to go. I'm not saying it's good or should. I just think that's kind of how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, of course. But like I said, if Goldberg, does the right thing, has one match, agrees to lose, but still looks good, and it's Gunther, and he gives Gunther everything he's got, and they even start the match like the first Brock match where like he just hits him out of the blue, but like, oh my God, is it going to be Brock again? Gunther beats him. Fine, whatever. And then Gunther could work his way back to getting to the title again. But in the meantime, Jay can hold the title for a bit, or even Gunther could take time off, possibly. I don't know. But Jay could hold the title for a little bit, lose it to Braun, because that's what I'd like. That's what I'd like to see. He loses the Breaker. He loses the title to Breaker, and then you can have Gunther and Breaker for the title. Babyface Braun Breaker against Gunther. Take my money.
Yeah. Yeah. The main event. Yeah. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk triple threat match.
Well, since we're going to do the booking the main event, I'm just going to just be straight up. Punk wins. I'm not saying anything else. Well, because we still got to we still got to book the main event if we were booking it. So I'm just going to say Punk wins.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Reigns. Yeah, I'm gonna go Reigns.
I mean, honestly, I'm going to book it, but realistically, if any of them win, I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, this is one of the only match. This is one of the rare matches that really don't have a bad. They don't have a bad scenario where it's like, oh, if this guy wins, it's bad. Like, there's really no wrong winner in this. They all serve some purpose in winning or a reason to win, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, but basically, I mean, we'll definitely get more in depth with that at a later date. So at least you guys do know who we have winning for the night one side of the coin. Night two, it just pains me how short this card is.
Well,
or it just seems short.
Well, we're gonna assume 7 because Randy and whoever, but
yeah, whatever they probably throw out.
Whatever Randy's gonna be on, so just assume 7.
Yeah. Okay, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. AJ. Yeah.
Logan Paul. AJ will make Logan Paul look like $1 million. That's nothing against Logan because Logan is very good. I get it. Logan's very good in the ring, and he puts in the work to do the. So it will not be sloppy. It will look good. He'll have a really badass spot, but AJ wins.
I mean, I will say Logan, because somebody brought this to my attention, but I was like, it was like something like TikTok I was in or TikTok Live or whatever, and I'm not gonna lie, Logan does have a lot of like fuck ups that get masked by the people that he just happens to be lucky enough to be in the ring with, where it's like, okay, if he misses a spot or if he messes up and like overdoes something, the people he's in the ring with will save him, which essentially, obviously, he's like a year in. He has moments, but he's not the shiniest coin in the jar, if that makes sense. Yeah, AJ's not gonna have him out there looking stupid, so no. I would definitely say it's gonna be. Yeah, match-wise is good. It's like I've been saying, I don't know. I don't see why it's on the card. But I mean, if we're going off like just the match itself, the match will be fine.
Solid above average, AJ wins.
Yeah. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre, and it's a Sin City street fight, I believe. What's the name of it?
Bloody violent mess. Drew wins.
Yeah. But in a weird, I don't know, I feel like in a weird way. Now, this could be like an extra drag out type of thing. In a weird way, I think they could have Priest win to just further like Drew's ascension into madness.
They could.
But if they do want to like bring Drew back up to like doing some big things, more or less Drew should win. But I wouldn't be surprised if Priest like wins and he like spirals even further.
Yeah, bloody violent Drew wins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Low key could be a show stealer. I'm just putting that out there. Could be a show stealer.
If they're allowed to actually have a street fight, I could see it. But
And like 20 minutes.
Yeah, but like if it's 20 minutes and they're actually allowed to, if the story actually sells, it's like, oh, they hate each other, and it's actually like a actual hard hitting thing that they're doing. If it's like 20 minutes and there's no bleeding, I'm not gonna. It's not a street fight to me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's got to be some blood. It's got to be violent. They got to beat the shit out of each other. 20 minutes, just go nuts with it, and I think it could be a show stealer. If not, yeah.
Yeah, but at least knowing them, they've had street fights the past few years that I've like in WWE, and it's like none of them have been gruesome. Like they've hit each other with stuff, but it's never actually felt like a street fight. Hopefully they allow it to be one.
Their blood spots are calculated, but
yeah,
it's WrestleMania
by accident too.
But it's WrestleMania though. I'm not saying every match is going to have blood, but they can do color a few times in 2 nights for fucking WrestleMania. So there'll be blood.
Yeah, I hope. Even like was Edge Finn Balor? Damn, what it might not have been. I don't know.
No, I don't think it was.
Yeah, it might not have been. But it's like, I mean, like, cause I feel like last time I seen like blood was that Hell in a Cell with Drew and Punk, and they said Drew got busted open by accident. So it's like, hopefully if it actually should be it should be a bloody match based off how they've been selling it, as far as like, oh, I want to kill this guy, he's banging his head on the walls.
It's WrestleMania. There'll be blood of some kind multiple times. They can both bleed. I'm not saying they both have to be.
Will they do it?
I'm not saying they both have to be masked, wearing the crimson mask, but they'll both bleed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. IC title, right? Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker versus Dominic Mysterio versus Penta versus Finn Balor.
They sort of all cancel each other out. Miscommunication. Dom and Finn. They both kind of like accidentally cost each other an opportunity at a specific moment in the match. But when push comes to shove, here it is. Dirty Dom is going to yank Finn off of, or yank. No, let me rephrase. Dirty Dom is going to yank Braun off of Finn, toss him out of the ring, pin Finn. He's the champ.
Yeah.
You sold me. I did some thinking. I did some watching. Yes, you got me. Dom's winning it. Dom's Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, I mean, because like I forgot what episode it was. It might have been the last Monday or whatever, maybe even Friday. But just from the gist of it, and as far as just based off of the fact that, like, really running down the line, I think Dom had the 3rd most matches in 2024 or 2023. So he's been putting in the work. He hasn't won a title in like a year, maybe 2 years. And obviously Penta being the new guy on the block, he's going to have good matches, but it's a little early, at least in my opinion, or maybe in their mind, to put a belt on him. They could, but I don't think they will. And Dom is probably the perfect guy that you can like pass it off of for Braun to move on up.
And they're not breaking up the Judgment Day. Dom's been doing well. They literally just did something in India with Dom and Liv. Liv is scorching hot.
Yeah.
Liv is scorching hot right now, and I don't mean her looks. That's kind of obvious. So I'm not being a perv.
Yeah.
But and they're gonna probably add to the group. So Judgment Day is gonna stay a thing. Dom's winning. Dom's pulling somebody. Dom's pulling somebody off of Finn and pinning Finn for the belt. Unfortunately, Finn is going to be Finn Balor on Sunday.
Yeah, but this time it'll actually be. I feel like this time it'll actually be with a purpose. The last couple of times he's been getting pinned, it hasn't really been with a purpose, but this time it'll actually be for a good purpose. We'll get a good story out of it, and Dom will have a Mania moment.
Yep.
Because they didn't have him beat Ray, and I was mad about that. So at some point, he gonna have to get it back in blood. So he gonna have to.
I mean, realistically, if you want to, Dom's first title defense can be against Ray, and he can beat him.
Mania Backlash? That would be...
If the Judgment Day is not completely broken up and it's not Finn, which you want Finn to lose again, you could string it out a little bit where the Judgment Day adds a new member, they beat up Finn, and then Finn maybe has to like have a match with somebody else in the group before he can get his hands on Dom, and that keeps him at bay. You could do you know what? Like Ray wins at Mania, and because Dom's Intercontinental Champion, you know, they make fun of Ray. They say something about Ray being a bad father or Ray this, whatever it is, because Dom's a champion and Ray's not, or whatever it is, and Ray gets up in there and says, you know what? You think you're that good? Let's have another go. You and me for the Intercontinental title. They make the match at Backlash. Dom beats his dad. There you go.
Yeah, shows growth in character and growth in him being a wrestler.
And you know damn well Ray would have zero issue putting his kid over.
Definitely, zero problem at all.
He'd be happy to do it.
Yeah. I feel like eventually,
of course.
I feel like if anything, if anybody probably asked, he probably would want to go out that way. Whether it be or just like him getting that match.
I was gonna say, if this doesn't happen, I would think Ray's retirement match, considering, you know, probably like all his probably his, you know, his greatest friends and greatest opponents are either not around or are not with us anymore.
All right.
I would think if not for something like that, his retirement match could be against Dom, and Dom could beat him. If not this, but I think this would be better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Either way, they can have like a cinematic ending.
Even if Dom's a temporary Intercontinental Champion, he could have his first title defense against Ray and beat him, and we're totally okay with it. Totally okay with it.
Yeah, but I do see whatever remaining members of Judgment Day leaving with titles. Oh, after night 2, I definitely see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Judgment Day, women's tag team championships: Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria.
Liv and Raquel win. Miscommunication.
Heel turn. That's what I'm thinking for Bayley.
Not after the match. The next night.
Oh, like the Raw after.
Yeah, the next night, not at Mania. Bayley's gonna be upset and pissed because it'll probably be like Lyra will be the one who miscommunicates or whatever it is, and Bayley eats the pin.
Yeah. Because
of the miscommunication, and like Bayley, like, you know, Lyra's like, I'm sorry, does whatever it is. Bayley just kind of gets mad at her, shoves her maybe or whatever it is, pushes her out of the way, gets out of the ring or whatever it is, and then like it seems like the next night they're like making amends and getting things back in order, and then Bayley just drops her.
Yeah.
Heel Bayley. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this inevitably leads to Bayley, because I think this would probably make Bayley, well, she's already a Grand Slam technically, but I mean, if they want to give her every belt somewhat, whether it be US or IC, she would be able to win all the belts a singles women competitor could probably earn at this point.
Yeah.
Or could have earned.
Yep.
But yeah. So
and then
definitely to that.
And then Liv and Raquel can go on to lose them to either the Kabuki Warriors or Alexa and Nikki. I'm still saying it.
Yeah. Hopefully if Lyra drops it to Bayley, I feel hopefully she moves up. Because I feel like she definitely, that might speed up her development, at least to me. Even though she's already like in the ring, but as far as like character work, I feel like if they move her up, it'll speed it up.
Well, she needs character work. That's a problem. Not her fault. I'm just saying that's a problem, and it's going to depend on the draft and call-ups because the women's division is loaded. So she would just be kind of like, she'd be in a logjam if she drops the IC and then moves up immediately. To what?
I mean, I feel like I feel like she would still be like in the fray, because I feel like if anything, they've already, as far as like the main women's titles, they've only had like 3 to 4 minimum. If they have a division full of 5 credible like women, their matches could bang.
Yeah.
As far as like now they have more interchangeable matches, and you have 5 superstars that are like, dang, at any given moment, if they were to be champion, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah.
Because the main thing, I look at Lyra kind of similar to EO. EO definitely is like, EO's lovable, so I feel like it gets masked, but there's really not much development as far as her character either. She's the genius of the sky, she has a great moonsault, and she's one of the better female wrestlers in the world. I feel like that's basically kind of the makeup of the scenario. Incidentally, Lyra's backstory is mainly like an NXT thing. So unless somebody's seen her in NXT where they did like the whole breakdown of the birds and why she identifies with Valkyries, unless somebody goes back that far, no one's gonna really know that either. So I feel like they're kind of fair. They're even. Yeah. Women's World Championship. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. Triple threat.
Bianca wins because of what I said. Because of what I said. Metaphor. Bianca's not going to be the one that's with Naomi. So Bianca wins. Bianca, and then feuds with Rhea. I could see Io getting moved to SmackDown. I'm not calling it yet. I'm not giving up my prediction yet, but yes, Bianca wins and descends into heeldom, and you get Bianca and Rhea.
Honestly, I see it from a similar perspective. If anything, I'd more or less say, at least from a story perspective, I could see Io retaining, and then Rhea probably gets moved to SmackDown.
Rhea.
Yeah, because I feel like Rhea in this case is the same thing with Damian Priest as far as they've done everything they could on Raw at this to this current moment, at least like main title wise and feud wise. So if Rhea was to get moved to SmackDown, you could still get the Bianca stuff, and then plus if they still want to trace back to it, the Jade stuff, which they still haven't fully like rekindled yet because they threw Bianca in a triple threat match. Then you kind of have SmackDown in a interesting spot where you kind of can also move Charlotte, which I also think will happen as well. I don't think it will, but I could definitely
They would
picture
kind of
a
have
scenario.
to.
Yeah,
They'd kind of
make it a
have
little
to.
more even. Yeah.
I don't really want to see Rhea and Charlotte again. Rhea and Tiffany could be interesting,
Yeah, shit,
but
Rhea and Tiffany, shit, Rhea and Jade. I wouldn't say Rhea and Chelsea. I don't think, respectfully, I don't know about that. But I mean, I feel like if anything, if they have a Rhea and Charlotte swap, that'll be fair. We still get somewhat big time stars, and then Becky returns. You can put Becky on Raw, make a bunch of call ups. But I feel like if
well,
anything,
then
Io.
if you put Rhea on SmackDown, though, then if you want to have another like interesting feud of like powerful women, then if you do a call up, you got to call up. You got to put Jordan on SmackDown then,
I'm not opposed to that. Because then we can get Jordan and Jade.
and Jordan and Rhea.
Yeah. And even then, like, and then Tiffany still being in. I feel like if anything, that would just make
Mhm.
SmackDown have really 4 strong women that, whichever one of them are champion, you can't even get like. I'd be able to like see feasibly because it's like that's like 4 powerful women fighting over one of the most valuable prizes.
Yeah, I could rock with that, and not to mention, you could theoretically have Julia or Stephanie Vacour on SmackDown too.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah, because I just feel like for the story, as far as like how they've been like undermining Io the entire time, I feel like it's almost inevitably setting up for like the quote unquote underdog wins the championship thing
But-
because Rhea and Bianca get distracted with each other.
Yeah, or that you could even go like you could flip it and have swap Rhea and Charlotte, put Jordan and Roxanne on SmackDown, and Stephanie and Julia both go Raw.
Yeah, Roxanne on SmackDown definitely probably does make sense. Or
Yeah, Roxanne instantly U.S. champ.
Yeah, because at that point she can just basically like run roughshod, have some matches with Micha and Candice and
The Herbis and yeah, sure.
There's definitely a lot. There's definitely a lot to do.
Sure. Yep. Stepping stone.
Yep. Building block for the future. And then at that point, SmackDown looks crazy, women wise at least. Like they're already kind of
and
way, they just don't use them.
And then it depends on obviously they're going to go back to 2 hours, and then if you flip a couple main event caliber guys, like flip them.
Yeah.
Then
it could be pretty competitive.
Then SmackDown looks a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. And the main event of night 2, undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena.
I already said interference aplenty. Yeah. Randy gets involved, Cena wins.
Yeah. If you haven't seen our our booking night 2 video, which I'm pretty sure most of you probably have, I'd watch that for a more in depth because I'm not going to repeat everything.
Right.
But yeah, I believe I had Cena winning as well. I'm almost certain I did.
Yeah, you did.
So yeah, so that's basically
although
how I'm seeing it.
But here's an interesting scenario that I saw. Right. It's not a prediction. It's just interesting because they didn't have Austin on last year, and he's going to be there. Now, there's no guarantee, but he's going to be there. Right? What if just hypothetically, like, it's a bloodline rules-ish type of match where it's interference aplenty because The Rock just allows it to happen. So it's just no DQ. Yeah, it's just no DQ because The Rock said so. You get run into plenty. Randy doesn't turn on Cody right away, but he helps. He tries to help. And then when all seems lost, the glass breaks. Austin comes out. This is not my scenario, by the way. Austin comes out, right? He comes out. Everybody in the ring is like shitting their pants, including The Rock. And Austin flips the bird to The Rock and them, but then turns around and stuns Cody and walks away. Yeah, I heard that and I was like, yo, that's fucking wild. That would be wild.
Yeah, that is an idea.
That would
I mean,
be
because it would be
that
like
would be
it would have.
nutty.
Yeah, it'd be one of them things where it's like I'm not like long term. I'd be confused as a bitch because I don't know what they would do after that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that'd be the only thing holding that up. Like for the moment, it'd be like, wow, that's crazy. But then like after that, it'd be like, well, Stone Cold's knees are not. you know, I don't know. That
I just
would
thought
be
it was
something.
wild. I just thought it was wild. I was like,
Yeah,
wow, that's not something I would have thought of.
yeah,
Austin getting involved, a stunner on the Rock, which always hits
yeah,
because nobody could sell a stunner like the Rock. But like the idea of flipping the script where he comes out and stuns Cody, and it's just like, oh shit, that would be nutty.
yeah. That definitely would be a wild scenario for sure.
But
If
my
that was to be something.
but my scenario is on tape on the channel. I said what will happen. Cena wins.
Which I might just link that in the description or in the comment section, which one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you haven't
Mm-hmm.
already, then that'll give more in depth to the night two aspect as far as the main event is concerned. But
Yep.
that is our predictions for nights 1 and 2 of WrestleMania 41. I feel for the most part we should be, I'd say 50% accurate, 50-60.
I think probably more. There's going to be more shock and surprise than we have stated.
Yeah.
At least I believe so. There's gonna be some stuff to bump this up overall. Besides Big E, there's gonna be more like surprise to this to make the overall experience of watching 41 better. There's gonna be more surprises. I believe it. It's kind of like a Triple H thing. Is like something happens at PLEs. It's not just gonna be Cena Cody. There's gonna be more.
Yeah. Probably gonna be some other stuff they have to add, but
Sure. Yeah.
yeah. As we said in the beginning, leave yours down. Oh, as far as obviously for our opinions, you leave comments down below if you think that we're fairly accurate. You can say we're fairly wrong. Leave that down below. If you have your own predictions as far as like what you think will happen, you can also leave that down below as well. Yeah. And once again, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friend, your neighbor, your dog, the goldfish, your librarian, whoever you think likes wrestling. Go ahead and do that.
You're goldfish.
Social medias, yep, PTP _99 on Twitter and TikTok. G.
Tony the Real on Twitter, Gino's Game on TikTok, and of course here.
Yep. And yep, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, evening, afternoon, whatever time you watch it. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Good to get. Yep.